Recent events have caused the cryptocurrency business to experience a wave of shockwaves that have spread throughout the industry. Brad Garlinghouse, the chief executive officer of Ripple, has made an official announcement regarding 5 additional CBDC agreements. Due to the fact that this is the very first time that this has been proven, this is the most convincing evidence that the global utility phase of XRP has in fact begun. It is quite obvious that governments are progressing beyond the stage of experimentation and into the sphere of execution, as evidenced by the fact that these initiatives are not only pilot projects or preliminary testing, but rather full-scale national integrations. The most recent announcement that Ripple has made indicates that the company is currently engaged in active collaboration with Japan, Colombia, Kazakhstan, Palau, and the Kingdom of Bhutan in order to establish or extend their respective central bank digital currencies directly on Ripple's technological stack. This collaborative effort is being carried out in order to establish or extend the utilization of digital currencies. The technology of Ripple's private ledger has been integrated with the monetary systems of 5 sovereign states, and each of these countries is adopting XRP as the bridge asset for instant liquidity across international boundaries. Ripple is using XRP to facilitate instant liquidity across international borders. This time, the message is unmistakable. The age of speculative cryptocurrency is coming to an end, and the age of real-world utility has arrived. This is the institutional domino effect that everyone has been waiting for, and it has finally arrived. Because of this announcement, there is a good chance that significant consequences will follow. Ripple's agreements have been the subject of speculation among observers for a considerable amount of time, and the timing of the moment when they will result in actual monetary transfers has been a topic of discussion. Ripple's CBDC platform has been officially adopted or scaled by 5 governments, which means that the utility of XRP is no longer theoretical, rather it is measured after this development. This is a significant change from the previous situation. Let's start with Japan, a country that is not only a financial powerhouse, but also ahead of the pack when it comes to technological innovation. At the same time that Japan's central bank has been conducting research on CBDCs over the course of several years, the partnership with Ripple that they have created through the SBI consortium is the one that genuinely stands out. For a lengthy amount of time, SBI Holdings has been one of the most active institutional allies of Ripple. This involvement has been ongoing. They have been campaigning for the integration of XRP throughout Asia, in addition to remittances and payments that are made across borders. If a CBDC rollout is executed in Japan and is backed by Ripple's infrastructure, then this indicates that XRP has the potential to become the settlement layer that connects the Japanese yen to other major currencies in real time. This would be the case if Ripple conducted the rollout. The next country on our list is Colombia, where Ripple has collaborated with the central bank and the Ministry of Information and Communications Technology to develop a blockchain-based infrastructure for the payment and settlement systems of the country. This is the next step in the process. In contrast to being driven by hype, Colombia's actions are driven by the desire to modernize their country. In order to increase access to financial services and improve transparency, the administration of the country has made it quite apparent that it plans to make use of the technology that Ripple has to offer. It is expected that the liquidity function of XRP will scale in tandem with the nation's transition toward a digital financial future. The implic as the bridge asset that ensures a continuous flow of value between currencies. It has already been proved that XRP is beneficial in lowering transaction friction and costs, and this was demonstrated during the pilot phase. One of the rising financial hubs in Central Asia, Kazakhstan, has also jumped on Ripple's CBDC architecture in order to improve its national payment infrastructure. This is because Kazakhstan is considered to be one of the emerging financial hubs in Central Asia. This is significant because Kazakhstan is located at the crossroads of Europe and Asia, which makes it a significant connection in terms of both geography and finance. This is the reason why this is significant. While the nation is transitioning its financial systems onto digital rails, the function of XRP as the universal link between CBDCs is becoming more evident. This is happening at the same time. Another early Ripple partner, Bhutan, has already tested and installed Ripple's CBDC infrastructure in order to issue its currency in Goldtrum. Bhutan is also one of the first countries to use the cryptocurrency. As an early adopter of Ripple, Bhutan is a benefactor. Ripple's technology has enabled faster and cheaper cross-border transactions while still maintaining compliance with Bhutan's monetary policies, according to the Royal Monetary Authority of Bhutan, which is Bhutan's central bank. With this certification, Ripple has been successful in achieving this goal. And last but not least, Palau, whose government has worked with Ripple to collaborate on the development of a stablecoin that is based on the XRP ledger and is backed by the United States dollar. Despite the fact that Palau has a very small population, the significance of the country is, to put it simply, highly symbolic. The fact that Ripple's technology is not limited to major economies is proved by the fact that this statement is true. In addition to being adaptable and versatile, it is ready to establish connections with countries of varying sizes, thereby establishing a unified financial web across the entirety of the world. The idea that Brad Garlinghouse was attempting to convey when he stated, "We are building the foundation for the next generation of global finance," is conveyed in this article. Because each of these digital currencies will need a neutral bridge asset in order to connect with other digital currencies, each new CBDC collaboration adds weight to the long-term valuation of XRP. This is because of the fact that XRP is a decentralized digital currency. The fact that XRP is designed to be rapid, scalable, and in accordance with regulatory regulations makes it the most apparent choice. When one location is able to achieve seamless CBDC interoperability through the utilization of XRP, other regions will immediately follow suit. This is not merely a story about 5 countries, rather it is about the beginning of a network effect that may affect dozens of additional countries. Having a conversation about the numbers is the next stage, as this is the point at which things begin to take an intriguing turn. Both the demand for liquidity and the market value of the cryptocurrency are directly influenced by the growth in the transactional volume of XRP that occurs when the adoption of the cryptocurrency moves from the pilot stage to the production stage. In the event that Ripple's ODL corridors expand on a worldwide scale as a result of these CBDC initiatives, the $3 price level will no longer be a dream, but rather a baseline goal. Why is it $3? Mostly as a result of the fact that at that price level, the overall liquidity of XRP is capable of sustaining the transactional volume of a number of national payment systems that are of the middle tier. The next logical goal is to have XRP priced at $10 per unit once new nations, like as Japan and Colombia, begin connecting their CBDCs through Ripple's network. It is not retail. For another way of putting it, if XRP reaches $10, it will no longer be only a bridge for international transfers, rather it will become the settlement medium that underpins entire regional liquidity networks. This is because XRP will have reached its full potential. In addition, if XRP reaches $10, it will transition from being a specialized financial instrument to becoming the global liquidity standard and the reserve layer for the digital era. This will occur regardless of whether or not it is a cryptocurrency. Sincerity compels me to admit that the beyond phase is not only a domain of fantasy, rather it is a mathematical consequence of scale. When Ripple's corridors begin to be traversed by billions of dollars on a daily basis, the value of the restricted supply of XRP will need to increase in order to make it possible to absorb and facilitate the transactions that are taking place in an effective manner. It is absolutely essential for XRP to have scarcity in order for it to function well in circumstances when there is a considerable amount of liquidity. When additional nations start using Ripple's technology, this signals that the equilibrium price will need to grow in order to fulfill the demand for liquidity. This is because the demand for liquidity will increase. The 5 new CBDC collaborations that Ripple has developed represent the tipping point at which institutional utility, in reality, begins to influence valuation. Ripple has formed these collaborations. Within the realm of XRP, the speculative phase has reached its conclusion. Now is the time to start the phase that involves the infrastructure. This moment is of historic significance for a number of reasons, not the least of which is the fact that Ripple is gathering partnerships. The explanation for this is that Ripple is increasingly becoming the infrastructure of the new digital economy that is not visible to the naked eye. When a central bank digital currency is introduced on Ripple's platform, it becomes an additional spoke in the wheel of a decentralized yet interoperable monetary system. This is the case for each and every central bank digital currency. You undoubtedly already know that SWIFT, ACH, and SEPA are examples of obsolete financial railroads that are slow, fragmented, and expensive. These rails are instances of legacy financial systems. Ripple's architecture brings about